This is the School District of Waukesha Board of Education. We are here tonight for our board reorganization meeting. We'll begin tonight with a roll call. Sue, would you do the roll call, please?
Mark Borowski.
Here.
Betty Koenig.
Here.
Carrie Kozlowski.
Here.
Markel Moore. Diane Voigt.
Here.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Here.
Anthony Zenobia.
Here.
David Wad.
Here.
Kelly Piasek.
Here. Mr. Moore notified me that he had a conflict tonight, so he will not be here. Sue, can you verify that the meeting was properly posted?
Yes, it was.
Thank you. All right, well, we are here tonight to begin with election of officers. The guidelines and process for the election of school board members have been placed at each board member's desks. Let me just go through the guidelines for the election of officers, and then we will work through the process in order. So the ballots tonight will be confidential. That's as allowed by state law. The secretary, Mrs. Ettinger, will count the ballots and will announce the results. Officers will be elected by a majority of board members present. Nominations are seconded, which is the tradition of the board. However, board members can vote for anyone through the write-in process. If there's only one nomination, a ballot vote is not necessary, and a motion to close nominations and cast a unanimous vote may be made and seconded, followed by roll call vote for approval. If no such majority exists on the first ballot, then a second vote shall be cast for the two candidates who received the greatest number of ballot votes until a majority is present. Any questions about that? Okay. We have 5 items to vote on tonight, and so we'll begin in order, starting with president, then vice president, treasurer, clerk, and secretary. All right, any questions? All right, so we would start by opening the floor for any nominations for board president.
I'd like to nominate Dr. Piasek.
Thank you, Mr. Borowski.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Wad. Any other nominations? I'd like to nominate anybody else. Mrs. Voigt.
I move that we close nominations and cast a unanimous vote for
Thank you.
for president.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Koenig. Thank you. Any objections? All right, Sue, we could do this by roll call then.
Yes. Betty Koenig.
Aye.
Mark Borowski.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
David Wad.
Aye.
Anthony Zenobia.
Aye.
Carrie Kozlowski.
Aye.
Diane Voigt.
Aye.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye. Thank you. I appreciate the vote of confidence. Thank you all. Moving on, next we would entertain nominations for the role of vice president. Mrs. Voigt.
I nominate Patrick McCaffrey as our most veteran member of this board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Kozlowski.
I nominate Anthony Zenobia.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Borowski. Thank you. Anything else? All right, seeing none, we would do a written vote for this. So Sue, can you remind us, we're going to be using
The pink.
pink? And you'll write your name, you'll write the name of the person that you're voting for and then sign your name on the ballot as well.
There's a majority vote for Anthony Zenobia.
Okay. Thank you. All right, moving on, we will now entertain nominations for the office of treasurer. Mr. Zenobia?
I would nominate Kerry Kozlowski for treasurer.
I second that.
Seconded by Mrs. Voigt. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we would be looking for possibly a motion to roll call.
I move that we close nominations, proceed to a roll call vote.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Zenobia. All right, Sue, would you take the roll call, please?
Kerry Kozlowski.
Aye.
David Wad.
Aye.
Betty Koenig.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Diane Voigt.
Aye.
Mark Borowski.
Aye.
Anthony Zenobia.
Aye.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye. Passes 8-0. Moving on to the officer of clerk, with just a simple reminder that the individual who serves as clerk for the board would need to be accessible periodically during the course of the business day for signatures and other related things as needed. Any recommendations for clerk? Ms. Kozlowski?
I'd like to nominate David Wad for clerk.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Koenig. Thank you.
I'd like to nominate Patrick McCaffrey.
Thank you. Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Second by Mrs. Voigt. Anybody else? Mrs.
I'd like
Voigt.
to nominate myself
Okay.
as an experienced candidate who's had 2 years of experience.
You've
in
done
the
it
role.
before. Yeah, absolutely.
And I am available as a retiree.
I'll second that.
Second by Mrs. Koenig. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. We have 3 nominees, Mr. McCaffrey, Mr. Wad, and Mrs. Voigt. And you'll be using the purple ballot.
And we do have a majority vote for David Wad.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations, David. All right, the last officer that we'll select tonight is secretary. The secretary does not need to be a member of the board, but has quite a bit of responsibility for the board. So are there any nominations for secretary tonight? Mrs. Voigt.
I nominate Sue Ettinger.
I'll second that.
Mrs. Koenig seconds that nomination. So any other nominees or volunteers? No.
No.
All right. I'd be looking for a motion to, thank you, Diane.
Make a motion to close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot of support for Sue Ettinger.
Thank you. Seconded by Mr. McCaffrey. All right. Sue, would you take the roll call, please?
Anthony Zenobia.
Aye.
Patrick McCaffrey.
Aye.
Kerry Kozlowski.
Aye.
Mark Borowski.
Aye.
Diane Voigt.
Aye.
Betty Koenig.
Aye.
David Wad.
Aye.
Kelly Piasek.
Aye. Passes 8-0. So you're stuck with us.
I guess.
All right. Just as a reminder, and a thanks to everyone for completing the committee preference forms, the committees will be established using the input on those surveys. I'll be reviewing those surveys over the next couple of days and commit to having those committee assignments ready for you by this Friday, the 28th at the latest. I'd like to get them out sooner if possible. As a reminder, we do have a T&L meeting next Tuesday, May 2nd, so that would be our first official committee meeting. You also all received an update on the timing of the committees, so I was proposing that we make some changes to the committee times and have some committees in a back-to-back fashion so that we can keep more weeks of the month free for other business. So I would be more than happy to entertain any feedback about that proposed schedule or anything that either you may find a positive or of concern related to that, but please feel free to share your feedback with me on that if you had a chance to review it. That schedule won't go into effect until June, so we'll get through the May cycle, and then that schedule turns on with our new calendar year. The other thing that I am also proposing is that we forego committees in July, because that's a time when people take a lot of vacations and things, and we have struggled with quorum in the past. And I think everybody works hard and it's just a good opportunity to spend some time with family and get ready for the coming school year. So please, again, give me any feedback on that as I'm working through the committee assignments. If there's any significant conflicts that arise for you personally or professionally, let me know. The other item that we had agendized tonight was to adjourn from our meeting for an optional tour of the Blair building that will become the Blair Administration Building. Dr. Siebers, anything that you wanted to share with the group?
No, we're excited to take you over there, for those of you that would like to join us. We'd ask that you park, so we have a small parking lot by the pool on Hyde Park, but then if you go around the building, the old playground is going to become a parking lot, the blacktop portion of it. So it'd be best if you park in the playground area in the back of the Blair building, and then we'll all enter in the back of the building together. And if anybody wants to follow, we can make a little car train over there to help you find it. It's kind of tucked in a nice little neighborhood, the Tower Hill neighborhood, and it's going to be a nice new home for all of us.
All right. All right, well, with that, we are adjourned to Blair. Good night.